a length from Caddo River in second. To the outside, Keep Me in Mind. Then Get Her Number, Final Furlong, and Concert Tour is now 4 lengths in front, and Concert Tour is running them off their feet in the Rebel. Concert Tour 5 lengths in front. Hosier might get second. 8 Rebels for Baffert Concert Tour.
Welcome back to the Racing Rundown here on YouTube. I'm Eric DeCoster. In this preview, we will be looking at the Grade 1 Arkansas Derby, of course, the final 100-point Kentucky Derby prep on the 2021 Road to the Kentucky Derby. It's been a very fun prep season, some upsets. We had some chalk last weekend. No matter what, it's always, like always, shaping up to be a great Derby 3 weeks out in this Arkansas Derby. While a little bit different this year for a couple of reasons, still going to be a very fun race. Obviously, the history of the Arkansas Derby, you just got to look at the last five years, or we'll say the last 5 times this has pertained as a final Derby prep. Obviously, last year kind of a wash. We have, Omaha Beach, who, the Morning Line Derby favorite, the runner-up in the Arkansas Derby, Improbable, went off favored in the Derby. The third place finisher, Country House, won the Kentucky Derby. And then you go back to 2017, Classic Empire, 4th in the Derby, 2nd in the Preakness. The 2016 winner, Creator, won the Belmont. 2015, American Pharoah, won the Triple Crown, so on and so forth, especially since this race became a Grade 1 in 2011. It has been an absolute Derby machine. This year it's a little different. It's pretty much a rerun of the Rebel. 5 of the 6 horses in here exit the Grade 2 Rebel in their last starts in mid-March, and then the 6th, Last Samurai, comes out of the Southwest, where he was handily beaten by Central Quality, the current Derby favorite. So that kind of diminishes the quality of this race, but nevertheless, it is a Grade 1. It is a big purse, and of course, 100 points to the winner. And with how the Derby prep, how they fared so far, and with some horses dropping out, the cutoff for the points seems to be a little bit lower than usual, meaning a third in this race for some horses might just sneak them into the Kentucky Derby starting gate, even without any defections leading up to the race. So that'll be something that'll play out. I'll touch on that kind of towards the end of this preview. We'll get into the field now. It's a short field of 6, so we'll be able to get through them pretty quickly. Start with the 1, Steve Asmussen, Super Stock. He's a hard trier. He's only ever ran worse than 4th once in his career. That was on debut on the turf. And actually, last time out was really his worst career race on paper. However, visually, he did some nice things. And it was also coming off of a fairly solid layoff, about 5 months. So he had an excuse. He had a lot of excuses, actually, in the Rebel, because he also didn't break too well, was last, which was something he'd never done in his career. Still rallied, finished 4th, beaten 6.5 lengths by Concert Tour. I didn't really hate the race, though. He obviously was going to need one coming off the bench, facing a field he hadn't faced before and a quality he really hadn't had to go up against before, but still ran a fine race in my opinion. I think he's eligible to improve second time through that in the form cycle now. He was good as a 2-year-old, picked up a Grade 1 placing even in the Breeders' Futurity behind Essential Quality, and Keep Me in Mind, no shame in that. Was actually behind Midnight Bourbon, his stablemate in the Iroquois in September. So he's really been facing some good horses, and while he hasn't been beating them, he's still been running just fine against horses who are going to be in the Kentucky Derby in a month's time. So that's certainly not something you can hold against him. I think he's honestly a huge horse to look at underneath, fill out some exotics. He was the longest shot in the Rebel. He was 40-1 that day. I really don't think that's going to be the price you get on it, but with some of the horses in here that are certainly going to take money, you might get some low teens on him, maybe even up to high teens on him. So that'll definitely be nice to fill out an exacta or a try, which I really think you can get with him. I think he's going to run a solid race no matter what. The 2 is Caddo River, disappointed as the favorite actually in the Rebel last time out. Certainly a step back from what we saw in that Smarty Jones win in January, but he had an excuse. He was taken off the pace. And that's never been good with him. In his 2 career wins, which were daylight wins, he went to the lead and didn't look back. In the Rebel, Florent Giroux kind of let Joel Rosario take the lead on Concert Tour, tried to sit that pressing trip, and it did not work out. Caddo River folded pretty easily as they came into the stretch. I don't think that'll be the case. I think it's been pretty clear from my comments I've seen from Brad Cox is they're not going to take him out of his element this time. They're going to go to the lead with Caddo River. So that's going to be really, really positive. And I think that's going to make him run a lot better because he's going to be back doing what he likes now. Does that beat Concert Tour? I don't really think so, but does that mean he probably runs a good second or third or some Derby points? Yeah, I think he could easily do that with a trip on the lead this time. And that being said, when I get to Concert Tour, I'll certainly talk about what this race is going to shape up like in comparison to the Rebel, because like I said, it's a rerun of that race, minus a couple horses, plus one more. But I think that the dynamics of it are going to be so much different, because I think a lot of connections are going to be learning from what happened in that Rebel. On to the 3, Hosier, the other Bob Baffert in here. I believe he's second choice on the morning line. Yes, he is 3-1. So very, very short price. I think that'll probably be the case. It'll be Baffert's duo being the top 2 choices in the market. Hosier ran a really good second at kind of a price, 18-1 in the Rebel. Finished off very well, rallied from behind to pick up that spot. That was huge. He was coming off a maiden win against a field that wasn't too strong, even by Southern California standards. So you really weren't expecting a lot from him, but he still ran huge. And I think he's kind of at 3-1. I certainly would not take him. I think that would be somewhat ridiculous. He has some nice works in here. He showed he can ship well and run at Oaklawn well, and he didn't really have a pace to close into last time out, but he still finished up very nicely. But you don't really know with him. Is he really better than Caddo River or Get Her Number, who we'll talk about in a moment? Was that race really indicative of that, or Superstock, I should say? I don't really know, and I think that price, especially if I was to put him on top, which I wouldn't in this spot, but if I were, I think that'd be kind of a mistake. He's already lost a Concert Tour twice in his career, and really had no excuses or reasons he should have won. So I don't think he's really got the chance to win this race, but he is one who could easily step up, run a second or third, and really even I think a fourth could probably sneak him into the Derby. Based on how things are kind of shaping out, that would kind of be very much put him on the bubble, but a second or third in this spot absolutely will secure him enough points, to get a spot in the Derby starting gate. So that'll be interesting for how that plays out. The 4 is Get Her Number, Grade 1 winner, won the American Pharoah at Santa Anita last fall. Last time out in the Rebel, not impressive, but he had some troubles. He was way farther back than he should have been. This is a horse who won the American Pharoah right up on the front end. Has run his best races when he was top 2 early on. Last time out, he was third last, and then coming into the stretch, he got bumped around pretty badly, knocked off stride pretty badly. So he had some really big excuses, and I think this is another one. He's gonna take it to Concert Tour early on. I don't think they're gonna let him get away with that easy lead he got in the Rebel. I don't think he's good enough really to hang with Caddo River and Concert Tour and pretty much every horse in this race with the exception of Last Samurai. I just don't know if he's got that talent to beat him, but he's going to be a huge factor in terms of how much work Concert Tour and Caddo River have to do on the front end, because I could really see those top 3 going at it early on, certainly going much quicker than they did in the Rebel, and that could make things a little interesting. I don't know if that would it'd certainly weaken Concert Tour, and I think the question is, will that weaken him enough to allow for a horse like Hosier or Superstock to come rolling late and win it, or is it Concert Tour holds on, wins it by a length, probably doesn't go into the Derby favor? Now we'll move on to Concert Tour, easy transition, as he is the next horse in the line. He's done nothing wrong in 3 starts. He's been very, very impressive, showed immense talent in his 2-turn debut, winning the Rebel last time out, but he had it handed to him on a silver platter, and I think that's kind of the big thing. I think he'll win this one for sure, but it's very hard to envision him losing. But is he going to win by 4 1/4 lengths? Is he going to be as geared down as he was last time out? Are we going to see that same performance from Concert Tour when it's likely he's going to have a much harder time? He's not going to have it handed to him. Get Her Number and Caddo River are certainly going to take it to him early on. Now, like I said, is that going to soften him up to a point where he'll fold? Is that going to soften him up to a point where he'll win by a length, or is it not going to matter? Is it all just overthinking, and does he win it by 6? That's a question that I can't answer until I actually see it, but those are the 3 options really, because it's going to happen. He's going to go quicker than he did in the Rebel. If he doesn't, then I really don't know what the tactics are on these horses that want to beat him, but it'll be interesting, and that'll obviously dictate what it looks like for him heading into the Kentucky Derby. Will he be favored? Will he be a close second choice? Those questions will be answered Saturday. More so than who's going to win the race, it's how is this going to affect the Derby odds, especially a month from now. And finally, the 6, Last Samurai, huge long shot. Maiden win to his credit, won at Churchill last September. His only other 3 starts, though, they've been horrible. Off the board in every start, beaten double-digit lengths in every start, and really, actually, other than maybe losing to Essential Quality in the Southwest, which the form of that race is not held up too strong and behind, he's not really faced anybody. So Last Samurai, Dallas Stewart, he's has some wild tricks up his sleeve, and he's won some big races at huge prices. Unless there's an absolute pace meltdown in this spot, I really don't see how Last Samurai could come rolling late and win this one. So very much an easy pass in this spot for me. So Concert Tour is my pick, 100%. It's not hard. I think the value 100% is super stock. Probably not to win the race, but to run a good second, fill out a nice exacta, maybe trifecta, however you want to use him. I think he is must use though if you're going to be playing those types of wagers. I think at the end of the day, it's going to be how much Concert Tour wins by and how that's going to affect him going into the Derby. There's a lot of speculation that he's going to be favored over Essential Quality before he's even ran this race. And honestly, to me, at face value, it's not going to be impressive considering no matter how much he wins this race by, it's not going to be overly impressive given he's basically beating the same field twice. He hasn't faced tough competition heading into the Derby because even if he doesn't win this race, he'll still have enough points. So that's something people need to think about. And I think the value there could be a little depreciated. We'll look at it, of course, heading into the Derby, as the weeks go on. And obviously it's all speculation at this point, but I think it is fairly much a given that Concert Tour is going to win this race. But do keep in mind that pace scenario. And at the end of the race, of course, should Concert Tour indeed win, certainly pay attention to the margins and how the race played out and how that's going to affect him moving forward. So that's all I have for you. Pretty cut and dry. Concert Tour probably takes the Arkansas Derby. If he doesn't, look at super stock. Hozier would be a nice third, but I don't think I have a hard time believing those two will beat the top horse in your Concert Tour. Certainly a big stepping stone to the Kentucky Derby on the first Saturday in May. That's all I have for this preview. Of course, stay tuned. We have tons of, we'll have a recap of this weekend, and of course, tons and tons of previews of individual horses, and of course, the big race, the Kentucky Derby, as the time comes. I'm Eric DeCoster, and I'll see you next time.
Caddo River. He has built up a 6 or 7 length advantage. Cowan is racing in second, but Caddo River has leveled out and he is running strongly to the wire. It is Caddo River now double digits in front. Caddo River and the Smarty Jones straight and strong.